Let me take you back to April the 29th, Wembley Stadium, 90,000 spectators. The opponent, of course, Britain's Anthony Joshua. The IBF and WA world heavyweight titles on the line. Can you recapture now, some 6 months on, the kind of atmosphere that prevailed in the stadium as you walked to the ring?
Well, this is my first time being back in London after the fight.
Okay.
And the first thing that probably was kind of impressive to me. So I was giving my passport at the customs, and I was just asked, like, well, we don't really need to look at your passport. Can I shake your hand?
Oh, okay.
That's a good entrance
Yes.
to the country and the city, in this case. And obviously, a lot of people watched it, and millions around the world. It was a very important night in life of AJ and myself. We were dedicated to the sport and to our performance. I was absolutely obsessed to become third-time world champion, and I did everything to make it happen. I really got good opposition in AJ,
and you had, I mean, you did have an opportunity, didn't you? Specifically towards the end of the fifth, and then in the sixth round, you had him on the floor after yourself being floored. At that point, you must have thought that actually a victory was in reach. I mean, he said afterwards that you rose to your feet after you'd been knocked down in the fifth, like a Terminator. So he saw in you still the ambition, still the determination to succeed.
Well, I think it goes on both sides.
Yes.
He probably didn't think would have got up, and didn't I think he was going to get up. But certainly Joshua was born as a champion that night. Even if the end result was not that I was expecting, and I wouldn't end it in a different way. I mean, if I could to change the end result now, I wouldn't. Because even if I lost, I won so much, like I never did while winning.
Well, that's an extraordinary thing to say. Can you tell us a little bit more about why you say such a thing? I mean, I understand the mutual respect between the two fighters, but still to say that it was better that you lost than that you won is an amazing thing.
Because now on, it would have been great for my ego to win. But on the other side, I've been involved in a lot of championship fights and I won a lot. But to experience, which I didn't really understand that night directly, but to experience winning so much by losing, even I feel just positive
and
about it.
And the crowd there at Wembley, they did appreciate you. You were applauded from the ring, weren't you? I mean, you are held in great affection in Britain. And I suppose part of that is the fact that that particular fight did bring a kind of respectability back to the heavyweight division. The absence, for example, of trash talking, the mutual respect, and the fact, of course, that it was the most extraordinarily dramatic fight. What do you think you did for heavyweight boxing in that fight? What the two of you did, perhaps?
I will, turn it around. I'm going to ask you, what do you think I did for the heavyweight division in that fight?
Well, you provided drama, you provided comeback.
Because it's tough to judge myself in a way, like, from outside you can do it much better. And I believe you as a journalist, or they as fans, probably can describe it better.
But I think what some people also liked about it was that it was a complete departure from what you had previously been criticized for, which was a kind of jab and grab tactic in boxing. And this suddenly was a really open fight in which, frankly, of course, either side could have won.
It's going to be, it doesn't matter what you do, you're going to get criticized.
Yes. Did that criticism hurt you, do you think?
It helped me. It helped me. It pissed me off.
Okay.
Each time when actually, before that...
Because it was unfair?
Before that, before that, 11, 12 years ago, when I lost almost 2 fights in a row, almost 2 fights against Corey Sanders and Brewster,
yes.
And I was written off. I was just the one that was a loser from both of the brothers, and even if I was, okay before, but suddenly I was not okay anymore, and I was tremendously criticized, like terribly criticized. I'm sorry, and that was really giving me a lot of wind in the sail. So I was so pumped up because I was not belonging where I was. And that's why I changed everything. I changed my team, I changed my schedule, I changed my attitude to work out. I just dedicated myself to the sport. And
so it was a kind of motivation, the criticism.
It was great motivation. So criticism, I'm taking it as a compliment, as the wind in the sail, because it gives me energy and gives me actually something that I want to prove is different.
Yes. I don't want to take you back necessarily to a totally dark place, but nevertheless, that 11th round, when you were on the canvas 3 times, I think I'm right in saying, what is it like then, from a physical and also from a mental point of view, to be on the end of such a ferocious onslaught? Because few viewers to this program will have experienced that.
Well, I don't want to discuss about how I felt, because when you're dedicated to the goal and obsessed with that, to become champion again and win the fight, and then you're not getting, and the fight is getting stopped, so are you happy about it? No, you're not. You just observe it, and you're taking it as it is. And I've learned in the past, and many times...
But how do you take the physical pain of it?
There's no physical pain during the fight. I mean, even if you feel physical pain, that's the fear leaving your body. That's the attitude I have.
That's how you deal with it, effectively.
That's how I deal with it.
Psychological point of view.
Pain is the fear leaving my body. And it takes a lot of different experiences that I have collected. And anyway, 11th round, I'm going to come back to what I was telling you. As an insider and as a fighter, you're inside of it. You're just emotionally so attached to the goal to win the fight. And if it's not happening, as it didn't happen in my case, it was upsetting. Of course, I was emotionally upset, but then suddenly things turned around, and I saw a lot of my previous opponents, because now I was on their side when they were losing against me. Suddenly I understood the circle of life. I've seen people, I've seen my family members passing away. I've seen my family members being born, literally. And it's just circle of life. You know, at some point, even if you're experienced and you know you can handle it, you know you still got it, you know you can do it, and just your experience tells you, you know, you have everything under control, and then you understand. It's just probably the time that you have to pass the torch. And I'm so fortunate that I passed the torch to Anthony Joshua and not Tyson Fury.
The circle of life, this is deeply philosophical, isn't it?
Well, it's deeply realistic. and the truth is, you know, it is what it is. I don't complain about it. Of course, my ego is like wrinkled because I didn't achieve what I wanted. But on the other hand, I achieved so much by losing.
All right. Let's talk about your retirement, which you announced on the 3rd of August. Why? Why did you decide to retire?
Because it was under my terms and it was perfect timing, and you only can and couldn't understand it only when the time is going to pass. Right at the moment when you're making this decision, it was the most difficult decision in my life. I didn't know what kind of impact it's going to have on my life and myself and my ego and everything else. But today, after a couple more months passed, I would say that it was the right decision.
Are you absolutely ruling out a comeback? Absolutely, no chance of coming back.
Listen,
because boxing is full of people who've made.
Never say never, right? Never say never. And I don't feel like
there's some doubt in your mind about it. Then.
No. Like right now, I'm speaking of right now, I'm totally happy where I am and what I am.
But right now is November 2017. In January, February 2018,
that's
you
right,
could change
and
your
I'm
mind.
41, and maybe, you know, George Foreman made it in 45. Yeah. Maybe I'll wait a couple more years and they say, oh, I still got it, and I feel like coming back. But honestly speaking, I wish to myself that I will never come back. I wish. So, and I don't know.
But you suspect it might.
I don't know what should happen that I that I'm gonna come back. I don't know what. Because
have you given all
I've been there, I've done that, I've seen it.
Yes. But have you given all that you have to give to boxing?
As a fighter, the answer is positive. Yes, I give it all.
But of course, it's not just, is it, the
wrong.
money that brings boxers back. It's the lack of structure in their lives. It's the business of not being in the fight game anymore, of not even having a purpose to their daily routine. You would need to replace that, wouldn't you, with something else? And I dare say maybe you've done that.
I have tremendous replacement. I'm very happy. Just 10 days, I believe, after Wembley, I was standing at the Subfire event. It's SAP Fire event. It's an annual convention, and there were 20,000 people, and I represented, together with one of the CEOs for innovation of SAP. We were talking about synergy between design thinking, it's a method, and challenge management. Challenge management, it's something that I have created as a method. It's IP, intellectual property in this case, and I'm having it together as a study course, CES certified study course at the University in St. Gallen. Challenge management, which is called challenge management, change and innovation management, and self-management. So, and we're going third year now, and we have built center of competence. So I was standing there and performing something that I was talking about, and performing not with my fists. It was awesome. I was just 10 days after that, and I was thinking, and I was just thinking, well, I'm actually having my arena and my fight right now to announce this synergy between design thinking and challenge management, and it was exciting. I had adrenaline in my blood, but I didn't I haven't worn gloves, and I was not like standing there topless.
So this is replacing boxing. But I wanted to talk to you about challenge management, because your website speaks of this concept in a rather elevated language, and I'll quote you. Challenge management refers to dealing with challenges in a corporate or personal environment through permanent and primarily proactive changes in awareness and behavior. What does that mean?
It's not rocket science. The world is changing. If you just think about, for example, 10 years ago, you took a list of the top 10 best performing companies and capitalization of those companies. They were all oil, gas, steel, coal companies, any trading companies. But now you have IT companies, almost $1 trillion, Apple. Yes. You have Oracle, you have SAP, you have Microsoft.
But what does a boxer bring to business then? Because that's what we're talking about.
Well, it's business is everything. Well, your job is a business too in a certain way. So we're getting also paid for certain things. But it's all about dedication. Why are you doing it? Do you enjoy it? What do you want to do out of your life? And that's actually the main goal. Everything else is the production of your activity. Financial production, I'm talking about finances in this case. So I'm very curious man. I always been, and I'm enjoying myself to get on the fields that are unknown, and people. We're in a society where we're thinking with stereotypes. You know, if you're an athlete, you must be dumb. If you're a journalist, you must be a liar. If you're a politician, it's the same, because you could be bought. If you're stereotypes, I'm sorry, but that's what the society thinks. And
so
if I think about my brother, speaking of him,
yes,
who would have thought that he would have become a politician and now the mayor of the city of Kyiv, capital city of Ukraine? I think it's pretty amazing.
But if you could summarize the goal, the aim, the principle of challenge management in one sentence, how would you do that?
Well, it's in one sentence. It's a study course over almost 6 months actually. But to make it short, it's not about it's not about problems in life, it's about challenges. That's the attitude that you have as a human. Digitalization was created by human for human to solve certain issues and beat the time, because the most challenging thing in our life, and also in our interview, we're under time pressure. So we need to, the shorter we're gonna get it, the more information we will spread out and get it over to the viewers, the better it is.
Let me take you back to your operations as a promoter and in marketing. That is very much part of your world at the moment too, isn't it? Are you interested, for example, in promoting UFC, mixed martial arts boxing? Would you be interested, I wonder, in maybe promoting another McGregor-Mayweather style fight? Would that be your thing?
Look, I think about that fight. I think it was great. Listen, nobody thought it's going to work, but it did work.
I think it was heavily criticised as well for being a bit of a...
it was critical. Of course, it doesn't matter what you do; you're going to get criticised as soon as you move on. But I think it was okay. Listen, it was not like a boxing match. I mean, it was a boxing match, but not the high level, because you have a UFC fighter that has just maybe a little idea of how to, handle your hands and just be in the ring. And McGregor was super disciplined in this fight, and Mayweather did his thing. So I think it was exciting. People had satisfaction. They paid a lot of money to watch it on pay-per-view. Eventually, this event, made tremendous amount of money at the end of the day. So it was good. Generally, for the sport, it was good. It showed that even the UFC fighter can be disciplined, as McGregor, for example, and it was amazing. So I was really impressed with that.
You'd be happy to promote an event like that, would you?
Well, I will not exclude it. No. And whatever is going to come up, as I said, the world is changing very fast. So there are new innovations, even this hybrid between MMA and boxing. So
we've already talked about your retirement. I'm just wondering whether a contest like that against an MMA fighter.
Am I going to involve myself or as a promoter?
Would you go back into the ring with an MMA fighter?
Look, my ambitions are satisfied. So, when two men fights, third win. I think that was something about Don King, probably. So I just gonna enjoy myself, continue to enjoy myself as someone that probably is more in the background than the front ground or in the middle of the ring. And you probably want to get a direct answer, yes or no. I don't see myself in the cage, neither in the ring as a fighter. If that is going to change, listen, maybe in 5 years I'm going to change my mind and want to break George Foreman's record. I don't know. It's going to be in 5 years. What is going to happen in 5 years?
Never say never.
Yeah, but also, like they're saying, when you're with 50, think like with 20, you have lost 30 years of your life. So every day, tomorrow we're going to think different than today. So who knows what is going to happen. But as for now, I'm totally in peace with my decision and with being not involved directly as an athlete in the ring.
When we met before, we talked a little bit about the alphabet soup, as it were, of the various world boxing organizations. Maybe that would be something that you could attach yourself to, the campaign to get a unified world boxing authority, because frankly, it's been a mess for decades and it needs resolving.
I wish and I have a dream that boxing is going to get more transparent, more open for, it's very, one important thing that I want to mention, there is only one core in boxing, fans and athletes, most of the time getting disrespected. Because it's a core. Promoters, managers, broadcasters, sanctioning bodies, everyone has its own interest. But where's the interest of fans and athletes? It's getting disrespected. But it's the core. Without them, the sport cannot exist. And I think when everyone thinks about themselves and they're just tearing the sport apart, what do fans think about it? Or even boxers? I'm dedicating myself to the sport. I'm trying to achieve goals. I did achieve something, but I don't have even security, my health insurance or life insurance or chance to get any education. It's not there, or pension. It's not there. Look at National Football League in the US. If you perform well, you get pension. As an actor, you have Actors Screen Guild. It's a union that gives you certain protection for the times that when you're not going to do well, but you did perform before, so you dedicated yourself to the industry. And that's something that boxing is missing. It's not there. And I think it's very important to change it. And I know that there is only one way to do it: digitalization. You have to digitalize the sport.
What does that mean?
Digitalization helps to prevent diseases, to prevent corruption, to prevent bureaucracy, to make it more transparent, to give security, because at the end of the day, speaking about finances, boxing is the most financially lucrative sport in the world, period. And just to have athletes seeing struggle when they really dedicate their life and being thrown literally on the street, because they're started with 14 as I did, and they're retired with 30 or 41 like myself. So it was very important to think about it, and that's what I talk about in my study course, career after career, because we're changing a lot of careers during the life. You know, today we box, tomorrow we do maybe, I don't know, maybe we're politicians, after tomorrow we'll become lawyers or entrepreneurs, you name it.
Let me just conclude by asking you a little bit about your home country, Ukraine. You've mentioned already that Vitaly, of course, is mayor of Kiev. He is a full-time politician. Is there anything that you feel you could do, any role that you could play as a spokesman for your country in somehow calming the political scene there? I mean, how do you feel about the current situation in Ukraine?
Current situation in Ukraine remains complicated and difficult because we do have geopolitical crisis, we have economical crisis. Even though we have it, I'm optimist. So I'm sure that eventually peace will come to the country. Question is when is going to happen, because every day there are people getting killed in the east of the country. And
so why are you
optimistic? Something, because it's a circle of life. I've been talking about it in this interview before. A circle of life, you know, if we take a look back in history, it has been always like that. And there are going to be times for wars, and there are going to be times for peace. And as soon as the weapons and ceasefire really will occur, the economy is going to shoot like a rocket in the sky. And it's very sad to observe and see that we have something in Europe, because Ukraine geographically and geopolitically is in Europe. We have a lot of challenges. We're young. We have sort of democracy which needs to be developed and done better. We still have to fight corruption. It's one of the diseases, or cancer, like cancer in the body, it needs to be just taken out. And you know what, one of the ways, digitalization, as I said before. You can laugh about it, but look at this, Paradise Papers, you know, boom, suddenly we have like, and some of you countrymen are involved as well. So that's what was, you know, showed up. And so thanks to digitalization, because things are difficult to hide. It's obvious, it's more transparent, and I think it's one of the ways, and I just want to put an accent on it one more time.